evening, everyone. I'm calling our Providence City Council meeting on this January 16th to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Present.
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 Councilor Royas.
Present.
Councilwoman Ryan is absent. Majority Whip Sanchez. Councilman Taylor.
Here.
Councilwoman Ana Vargas.
Present.
Councilman Oscar Vargas.
Present.
You have 14 present and 1 absent. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Will everyone please rise, including our guest tonight, for the invocation that will be led by Councilor Sue Anderwatt.
Thank you so much. I often feel some way about public prayer, and that way is not positive. So I wanted to read a few quotes by Jimmy Carter, president who we're all still in mourning and who had really amazing thoughts on government and how we should treat each other. And as we consider the resolution about him and his life today, I thought this was an appropriate way to honor him, an additional way to honor him. He's going to say nation in these, and I'd like us to think city. We are, of course, a nation of differences. Those differences don't make us weak. They're the source of our strength. We have become not a melting pot, but a beautiful mosaic. Different people, different beliefs, different yearnings, different hopes, different dreams. A strong nation, like a strong person, can afford to be gentle, firm, thoughtful, and restrained at the same time. It can afford to extend a helping hand to others. A weak nation, like a weak person, must behave with bluster and boasting and rashness and other signs of insecurity. And I'd like us to just remember President Carter and these lessons he had for us on government and also how to treat each other and our neighbors as we go about our work here in the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Please stay standing for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilwoman Anthony.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item 3, Madam Clerk.
Item 3 is the election of 2 members to the Providence External Review Authority.
Elections are now open for 2 members to the Providence External Review Authority. Are there any nominations?
Madam President,
Majority Leader Espinola.
I would like to nominate Deborah Reid and Darrell Williams.
Second, Madam President.
We have a nomination and a second. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please cast 1 ballot for Deborah Ray and Darrell Williams as members of the Providence External Review Authority.
So noted.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Deputy Majority
may I
Leader
have
Harris.
a personal expression?
Please.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, I'd like to congratulate these 2 appointments to the Providence External Review Authority. As you know, I want to first speak on Ms. Deborah Ray, who has been a tireless leader for our community and for Providence. I know if you probably looked up anything documented by her back in the old days, we used to Google people. I think they Wikipedia people now. You will find so much work that she's done in the city of Providence. So we're proud that she's able to step up one more time to be a part of the civilian oversight. I think this is maybe her 3rd time entering into making sure that we have a solid board. I also like to thank Mr. Darrell Williams for joining us as a part of the city and the Para board as well. We know that your work is hard and consuming, but we do know that you're doing a wonderful, wonderful job here, and we appreciate you. Madam President, I also want to talk about and welcome our council members to the Housing Crisis Task Force. The reason we are asking, and the committee is asking me to express the fact that we, after last week of understanding that if we stick together and if we're creative and we think outside the box, we truly can change things for the betterment of people. There's so many unhoused people. There's so many people that's losing their homes, whether they're homeowners or whether they are renters. So we are coming together for call to action. We're asking all of our council to come help pitch in to what we could do as a body to make sure we continue looking out for our most vulnerable people. So I want to also ask Councilwoman Peterson to share some of her expressions. If you don't mind, Council President, I will end this. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Deputy Majority Leader. Councilwoman Peterson.
Thank you very much, Madam President. Thank you very much, Deputy Majority Leader. I really appreciate it. I think it goes without saying that last week's council meeting, I speak for myself, and I'm sure that I speak for many here, but I was very moved. Reflecting on what our counselors did takes a lot of grit and a lot of patience within yourself to be able to do, but also to give back in a way where people felt seen and felt heard. I sat here and I talked with quite a few for about 3 hours, and they shared their experiences with me. One of my biggest takeaways last week in all of this was there was a person staying and seeking shelter here for the night. It was somebody that I had known from many, many years ago, and his story had been a lot of perseverance and trying to try and stay afloat, and seeing him again, but under these conditions, was a very harsh reality that I'm sure many, when faced with this, are dealing with. I know that us as counselors have probably been asked in multiple capacities. Last week I didn't get a chance to do it, but I wanted to thank our council staff because they were unbelievable last week. But I wanted to also personally thank Melissa Cruz. I had a family from Ward 14 that was faced in some of the most story, but it was just one of the most extreme situations. And Melissa took charge, and she led with so much empathy and support for this mom and her son. And I'm eternally grateful. So when you see her, please tell her that I said thank you. But moving on, your call to action, counselors, it made me think of what we do as legislators here. And one of the things that we have in our body is the opportunity to legislate in the proper way. While we can't always be direct service, we can move in a way to make things better. So in talking with Deputy Majority Leader Harris, in trying to build on that momentum, I thought that we could utilize our public properties to create opportunities for pop-up opportunities during the, if we're calling out accountability, we can start here where we're saying, hey, we didn't do it either, so now we're going to. And one of the things that I think is extremely important is that we start utilizing every resource that we have and seeing how we can utilize them better for a year-round opportunity for our unhoused in the city. So thank you very much, Councilwoman Harris. I really, really appreciate you just listening to me, and thank you to the policy team for also just trying to take the initiative and run with this. I look forward to working in collaboration with the administration to get this done for our city and for our community, specifically the unhoused. And I do want to also thank Councilman Royas and Councilman Sanchez for stepping up in situations where I think some of us weren't even ready to do yet. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I'd like to also extend my personal congratulations to Ms. Deb and Darrell, and thank you for your service. Councilors, if you'd like to stick around immediately after the meeting, we will be swearing them in for another term on the para board. Item 4, please.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 4 and 5.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on items 4 or 5? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Please note item 4 is received and refer item 5 to the Committee on Finance.
So noted.
Item 6,
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of items 6 through 9 and pass for the second time on a roll call vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second on items 6 through 9. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Council President Miller,
Aye.
Deputy Majority Whip Vanderbois,
Aye.
Councilwoman Anthony,
Aye.
Majority Leader Espinal,
Aye.
Senior Deputy Majority Leader Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilwoman Graves, Deputy Majority Leader Harris,
Aye.
Councilwoman Peterson,
Aye.
Council President Pro Tempore Pichardo, Councilor Royas,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ryan is absent, Majority Whip Sanchez,
Nay on 6 and 9, and yes on 7 and 8.
Councilman Taylor,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ana Vargas, Councilman Oscar Vargas.
Aye.
You have 14 ayes and 1 absent on items 7 and 8, and 13 ayes, 1 no, and 1 absent on items 6 and 9. The motion carries. The matters are passed for the second time on a roll call vote.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item 10,
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 10 through 12.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on items 10 through 12? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Please refer items 10 through 12 to the Committee on Ordinances.
So noted.
Item 13,
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 13.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 13? Councilman Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to rise to say that Hasbro is one of our really important companies here in Rhode Island, and for over 90 years, Hasbro has been a place here in Rhode Island that started with the Hassenfeld brothers right here in the city. From launching Mr. Potato Head to the Transformers and My Little Pony, their story has really been intertwined right here in the city of Providence. And as you may have heard, there are rumblings of potentially seeing Hasbro move out of the state. And I think this body and this city and this state can do everything in its power, I hope, to keep them here, both in Providence but also in the state of Rhode Island. As you know, they employ thousands of employees locally. They've worked with institutions like RISD to fuel innovation. And as a creative capital, Providence has an opportunity to continue that vibrant energy and to foster that talent and those resources that Hasbro needs to continue growing here in Rhode Island. And I couldn't imagine Providence or Rhode Island in general without Hasbro. It's been a cornerstone of our identity. And again, losing those jobs and that global recognition that comes with the Hasbro brand would be deeply, deeply troubling for the state and also the city. Considering they're in our DNA, I hope our colleagues will continue to celebrate Hasbro's legacy and do everything that we can to keep their creativity, their talent, and their history and their future right here in Rhode Island. So I hope that my colleagues will support this. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion on item 13? Hearing none, and just a reminder, this is just a motion to waive the reading. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Madam Clerk, please refer item 13 to the Hope Committee.
So noted.
Item 14,
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 14 and pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 14? President Pro Tem.
Madam President, can I have the resolution read, please? It's appropriate.
Madam Clerk, will you please read the resolution into the record?
Whereas James Earl Carter Jr., known to the world as Jimmy Carter, who served as the 39th President of the United States from 1977 to 1981, passed away peacefully at the age of 100 at his home in Plains, Georgia, on December 29, 2024, surrounded by loved ones. And whereas President Carter's leadership during his presidency emphasized the principles of human rights, environmental stewardship, and the pursuit of global diplomacy, exemplified by landmark achievements such as the Camp David Accords and the establishment of the Department of Energy. And whereas, after leaving office, Jimmy Carter continued his commitment to serving humanity, founding the Carter Center in 1982, an organization dedicated to advancing human rights and alleviating human suffering around the world. And whereas, the Carter Center has played a pivotal role in preventing diseases by bringing health care to some of the world's poorest countries, which has led to an almost complete eradication of guinea worm disease, and in promoting free and fair elections across dozens of countries, reflecting President Carter's lifelong dedication to the betterment of humanity. And whereas President Carter was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002 for his tireless efforts to resolve international conflicts, promote human rights, and foster economic development. And whereas Jimmy Carter's humanitarian work extended beyond his professional endeavors, as he personally demonstrated the values of service and compassion through initiatives like Habitat for Humanity, building homes and hope for those in need. And whereas President Carter was a model of humility, faith, and integrity, embodying the highest ideals of public service throughout his lifetime and inspiring generations of Americans to pursue lives of purpose and generosity. Now therefore be it resolved that the Providence City Council wishes to honor the extraordinary, century-long life and enduring legacy of former President Jimmy Carter, celebrating his unparalleled contributions to the United States and the global community. Be it further resolved that the Providence City Council extends their deepest sympathies and condolences to all former President Carter's loved ones as they, along with the rest of the world, grieve the loss of such an incredible human being. And be it further resolved that this resolution calls upon all individuals to follow in former President Carter's footsteps by striving to uphold the values of compassion, integrity, and dedication to the greater good that he so profoundly exemplified through his long and impactful life.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you for reading the resolution. And a person that has marked the United States as one of the most significant presidents of the United States in the world. We often think about presidents such as John F. Kennedy, but also Jimmy Carter, learning about his history in the past several weeks, talking about his life, being 100 years old, passing away, but also being a person of faith, married to the same woman for pretty much all his life, as a veteran, as a military person, very humble, someone that came from having no running water. And many of us as immigrants can relate to those stories. And during those times, I had to reflect and look at when my mother immigrated here and I immigrated here, and that all you hear during those times was that Jimmy Carter was too liberal for America. And then after that, Ronald Reagan came on, and the story goes on. And so today, we mark his legacy, but also the life of purpose that he had. And that I hope that we continue his legacy and that it continues to inspire us. At the end of the day, we hope that through his efforts, making sure that those who were most vulnerable, creating Habitat for Humanity, peace in the world, not just only in the United States, but also in the world during the conflict and the war during Beirut. And so with that said, we wish him, may he rest in peace, but also with his wife, and as we embarked in new chapter in our political history. Come Monday, we hope that we, as a city of Providence, a country, and in Rhode Island, we keep those fundamental and those principles that he set forward for us as people in Rhode Island and the United States, but also of immigrants, including those who are undocumented in our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Pichardo. Any further discussion? Councilwoman Vargas.
I want to stand up for that. Jimmy Carter, when he created Habitat for Humanity, for me, it's a pleasure because I'm living with that house. And I don't want to say that, but I have to speak up. So I have it this month, 18 years for this house. When I get it, I was the volunteers. My sister was a volunteer, so all my family volunteer for getting that house and getting that possible, because we have the dream for America. This is the real dream, when you can pay something available. And in my house, it was new, and it give me the keys this month. The 13th, I have the key for 18 years to pay for the Habitat Humanity service. And I say thank you for creating that, because it's work. For me, it's perfect. Thank you so much. Whatever you have, God, thank you, because the building some house that people can afford it and go forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman, and congratulations. Any further discussion on item 14? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Item 15.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 15 and pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 15? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Item 16.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 16, substitute the lease, and pass on a voice vote as amended.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second, and councilors, you should all have the substitution. That was just an administrative error on your desks. Any discussion on this item? Councilor Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to quickly mention what this item is. This is a new agreement between the City of Providence and the Southside Community Land Trust. Huge shout out to all the amazing work that they do for a community garden on Manton Ave for the next 10 years, I believe. They have a lot of community gardens throughout the city. They provide a tremendous amount of work and farming and educating opportunities to our community. So thank you. Big shout out to our staff who worked on this lease, and definitely got to continue this type of work going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion on item 16? Councilman Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to thank the sponsors for both of these pieces of legislation, Councilor Sanchez and also Councilman Taylor, for bringing this forth before the City Property Committee. And I just want to acknowledge everyone who was on that committee who did a great job diligently reviewing some of these proposals. So Vice Chair Sue Anderbois, Councilman Espinal, also Councilwoman Graves, and Shelley Peterson, and all the staff that helped us move these items forward. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor. Further discussion on item 16? All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. Item 17.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of items 17 through 25.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on items 17 through 25? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Madam Clerk, please refer item 17 to the Committee on Claims and Pending Suits. 18 through 25, note as received.
So noted.
Item 26.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 26 and pass on a voice vote.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on item 26? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes. Item 27.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 27 pass on a unanimous rising vote.
Second, Madam President.
We We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The motion passes.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to suspend Rule 16B of the Rules of the City in order to take on matters not appearing on the printed docket.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. This is item 28 in the packet.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
motion to waive the reading of item 28 through 34.
Second, Madam President.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on items 28 through 34?
Madam President,
Councilwoman
I
Peterson.
need to recuse myself on number 34.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any further discussion on 28 through 34? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And we have one recusal. Hearing none, item 28 through 33 passes with 14 votes. Items 34 passes with 12 votes and one recusal.
And the referrals?
And the referrals. That's a very wise question, Madam Clerk. Please refer items 28 through 32 to the Committee on Finance. Item 33 and 34 note as received.
So noted.
Madam President,
Majority Leader.
being that there's no further business on the calendar, motion to adjourn. And today, we adjourn in the name of Maria C. Ramos.
Any discussion? Councilman Vargas.
Yes, I just wanted to say, Monday is a holiday, but it's not a holiday at the same time. It's something to remember how hard our people work in this country. It's something to remember that we have to work and do better for our future kids, our future generations. And yes, remember that. That's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Any further discussion, Councilwoman Graves?
Yes, Monday is a holiday for MLK, and I just found out that we were combining Martin Luther King's Day and Black History Month together. I would hope that next year we try not to do that. They're two separate entities, two separate different things, and I think it's kind of disrespectful to either one of those events to do that. So I agree with my colleague. That is a day of work. We're supposed to go out and do something on Monday, and February is the month for us to celebrate Black history. So I hope we do both.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Counselors, please, if you can, stick around for 1 minute as we swear in para board members for another term.